This week on Engage the Sage.
Hi everyone, I'm Don Saucier. Welcome to this week's episode of Engage the Sage. This week, I'm going to talk to you about how to say no to opportunities. By the way, I want to point out this one comes by request. Someone who'd watched one of our videos said, hey, tell me how to say no to stuff. This is something I'd be interested in. So if you have questions, comments, concerns for future videos, let us know and we might do your suggestion. One of the coolest things about academia is we have so many domains in which to play. We have teaching, we have research, we have service, we have extension, we have administration, we have DEIB, diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging efforts, and we get to play in all of that space and make lots and lots of contributions. And the only issue is that all of those contributions take time and energy. Sometimes we're going to be invited, and invited might be euphemistic. We might be invited to take part in one of these opportunities, and we might not think that we should accept that opportunity. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you about some of the things you should consider. And then if you decide this is not the right opportunity for you right now, how to decline. The first point I want to make is that you have to understand that you're going to have to do some things. Being part of a department in an academic institution, so being at a college, university, being in a department of psychological sciences like I am, sometimes you got to say yes. Sometimes you have to contribute to the inner workings of your department, your college, your university, and your field. So sometimes you do have to say yes to some of these opportunities, even if you maybe don't want to. When we decline an invitation to be part of something, be it a research team, a service opportunity, be a member of a committee, when we're going to be in a position to potentially decline that opportunity, there's got to be a reason, and that reason should be good. And as we go through this conversation today, I'm going to talk to you about some of the better reasons, maybe some of the worst reasons to decline these opportunities. When you get an invitation or an opportunity, I want you to evaluate that against your existing responsibilities. Your time is an inexhaustible resource, and you are playing a zero-sum game. When you take on something new, it's going to take away from your ability to do the stuff you are currently doing. Easy example. We talked about how you should be writing. If I'm writing this paper, it means I can't be writing that paper. So your opportunities are often, at least in the short term, going to be mutually exclusive. So you want to think about where is that going to fit in your responsibilities. As a faculty member, you're typically going to have what we call a distribution of effort, or a DOE. And it's often going to add up to 100%. And what will happen is your responsibilities are going to get a percentage of that distribution of effort. You might be in a situation where your distribution effort is 40% research, 40% teaching, and 20% service. And what will happen is all the things you do are going to fit into one of those percentages. We often talk about this as relating to your FTE, your full-time equivalency, or your tenths. So typically when I take on a responsibility, we have to find out where it fits in my tenths. A class I teach might be a tenth. A committee assignment or a shared governance role might be a tenth or two. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to actually quantify where your time is going to be spent for your existing opportunities and the new ones that you are considering. If you say yes to that opportunity, that invitation to do something else, you have to have the time to do it. The next recommendation that I'm going to make when you're considering one of these opportunities is to seek guidance from your mentors. I'm willing to bet you are not the first person in the history of academia to be asked to do something else. And when you're put in that situation, talking to a mentor who's been through that and asking them, for instance, is this something I have to agree to, or is this something I can decline? This is going to be really, really important advice to get from someone in your own situation. A good mentor is going to let you know when it's an offer you can refuse and when it's an offer you can't refuse. The next thing I want you to consider is whether or not you are actually a good fit to the opportunity or invitation that you're considering. Here, I want you to think about your knowledge base. I want you to think about your expertise. I want you to think about your abilities. I want you to think about your skill set. I want you to think about the point you are in your career, and I want you to think about your future goals. If the opportunity looks like it was tailor-made for all of those things, this might be something to consider accepting. But if it's not a good fit for one of those things I just mentioned, it might be something to consider declining. In the situation where you're declining, it might be a situation where you're saying, I'm not the right person for this role. I'm not the person who has the expertise to serve on that committee. I don't have the leadership potential that I want to do to go into administration. It might not be consistent with my personal or professional goals to accept that. The other thing, rather than saying it's not me, it might be that it's not now. This might be something that it's too early in your career to potentially consider, or you're too busy with the other things on your plate right at the second that you want to push this off or postpone the opportunity for later. So you're interested, but the time isn't lining up for you given the other responsibilities you currently have. Here, you may want to ask the question, why me? So the person who's making you this invitation, the person who's giving you this opportunity, ask them, why are they inviting you? Why are they selecting you? Ideally, they're going to give you an answer. You say, okay, that makes sense to me. Sometimes they're going to say, well, I just thought of you. And there might not be a real compelling reason for you to accept that. That might be a good reason to say either not me or not now. When you're considering these invitations or opportunities, I want you to think about the costs and benefits of saying yes. I also want you to think about the costs and benefits of saying no. We previously did a video about picking your academic pie, and what I kind of gave you as advice in that video is I want you to pursue the things that are going to be fulfilling to you, they're going to fit in with your goals, they're going to fit in with your knowledge base, you're going to basically be spending your time the way that you want to spend your time. So what I want you to do is I want you to consider that. I want you to think about, what do I gain? Am I going to gain skills? Am I going to expand my professional network? Am I going to have something I can put on my CV? Is this something that's going to help me get an award? Is this something that's going to help me get a job? Is this something that's going to help me get tenure or promoted? These are the things I want you to be considering to think about. What is the benefit for me investing this time? And sometimes that benefit might be personal fulfillment. It might not be anything tangible. That might be enough, but it's something I want you to think about. Sometimes when you're put in the situation, particularly when someone in authority asks you this, they might say, hey, I'm your department head, I'm your boss, and I would like you to do this thing. And it's not something you want to do. It might be an opportunity to actually negotiate and say, I don't think I'm the right person for that, at least not right now. Are there other opportunities for me to contribute? And then maybe talk through and find something that better fits your skills, your point in your career, and your professional and personal goals. So it might not be a no, it might be a what else can I say yes to? Now, you may go through all of these considerations and realize that the thing that you're being invited to do, the opportunity that's being presented to you, is something you're going to have to decline. If you decline, there's some things to keep in mind. First, give a good reason for why you're declining. We've talked about some of that throughout this video. But it's not just a no, it's a no because. And the things that you say after that word because are going to make sense ideally to the person who's giving you the invitation or the opportunity. Second, I want you to be clear and respectful in your declining. And ideally, I realize some of our communication is over email. If this is something you can do in person, maybe you want to think about doing that. Sometimes you might not want to, but it might be something where you actually want to have a very, very warm, with all the nice, warm, fuzzy nonverbals, and say, hey, I really appreciate you thinking of me. Thank you. I'm grateful for this opportunity, but it's not me, not now. And I really do hope that you keep me in mind for future opportunities, because I don't want to isolate someone out of my professional network if later on down the road that opportunity might be something I'd be interested in. In academia, you're going to get invited to do a lot of things, and you're going to get a lot of opportunities. Sometimes it's going to be an easy yes. It's going to be something that's fulfilling to you. You're going to have the time for it. You're going to have the emotional energy for it, and you want to do that thing. You're going to find fulfillment in that thing. It's going to be successful. You're going to get lines on the CV, and it's going to further your future career success. Sometimes it's just not the right opportunity. And what I hope through the course of this video, we've given you some things to consider in deciding whether to accept or decline that opportunity. And if you're declining, how to do so respectfully. In the comments below, I'd love to hear any questions that you have about kind of considering and accepting or declining opportunities, as well as any experience that you've had with doing so. Thank you for watching this episode of Engage the Sage. Please like, subscribe, sign up for notifications, share us on social media, and we'll see you next time on Engage the Sage.